His father almost lost his life because of this. What really happened? Let's find out together. Hello guys, today we bring you another fascinating movie to your screen. This one is definitely going to blow your mind, and I'm pretty sure you'll love it. But before we dive in, why don't you grab some snacks and subscribe to this channel for more amazing movies from us. The story begins with a young guy named Steph, who was seen partying with his friends. He took one of the ladies inside while the rest continued having fun. Not long after, Steph's father arrived. Hearing the loud noise, he went inside, saw Steph's friends, and angrily ordered them to leave his house. He then went to Steph's room, only to find him with a young lady. Disappointed, he chased her out. The following morning, the driver was cleaning the mess Steph and his friends had made. Steph came downstairs asking for his father, but the driver ignored him. Moments later, his father came downstairs, saw Steph shouting, and asked what was going on. He ordered the driver to stop cleaning and told Steph to clean up his own mess. Steph then asked for some money, but his father reminded him that he had just given him a huge amount a week ago, which he had already wasted on clubbing. He made it clear that Steph would have to wait a month before getting more money. The next day, Steph was lying on the couch when the driver came to tell him that his father was calling him. The driver also tried to advise him, but Steph got upset and warned him to mind his business. In his room, Steph's father walked in, surprised to see him lying down after being called. He told Steph he wanted him to work in the company, but Steph laughed and refused, saying he wasn't interested. The following day, a lady came knocking at the gate. The gateman opened it, but she pushed past him to see Steph. They went downstairs to have fun, got drunk, and fell asleep on the couch. When his father returned and saw them, he was disappointed again. He wanted to send the lady away immediately, but the driver suggested she stay the night since it was already late. But why is Steph's reckless behavior about to put his father's life in danger? The next day, while at the office, Steph's father, Chief, received a call from the DPO informing him that Steph had been arrested. Chief told his driver he wasn't ready to bail him out yet. The driver then asked if his daughter, who was coming to Lagos to look for a job, could stay in the boys' quarters. Chief agreed. 2 days later, Steph was still in jail, and the driver tried to plead with Chief to release him. That night, Steph's drunk girlfriend came looking for him, but Chief chased her away. The next day, Chief finally bailed Steph out, but Steph was angry about spending 3 days in jail. 2 days later, a pretty lady named Mary arrived in Lagos. She knocked on the gate, told the gateman she was looking for her father, and waited in the living room. Steph came downstairs, spoke to her briefly, and then tricked her into leaving by locking the door and putting her bag outside. When Chief returned and learned what happened, he was furious and demanded that Steph apologize to Mary. Steph arrogantly refused and went upstairs. The next morning, Mary brought food to her father, and they chatted before she left. Later that day, Steph was restless, searching for his hard drugs. He called a friend to bring him some, but didn't have enough money, so he went to the gateman to collect the driver's money. Mary saw this and was surprised. That same day, Mary's father was eating lunch in his car when Chief approached him and asked for a taste. Chief was impressed by how delicious it was and decided to hire Mary as a cook in his house. That night, her father told her the news, and she was happy. The next day, Mary was in the kitchen washing dishes when Steph walked in. She told him she had been employed by his father, which shocked him. They were about to argue when Steph's girlfriend arrived, and he took her upstairs. Later, Steph's girlfriend demanded fresh juice. When Mary brought it, she complained that it wasn't cold and tried to slap Mary. Mary caught her hand, and the girlfriend screamed for Steph. When Steph came, he also attempted to slap Mary, but she immediately warned him, leaving him speechless as she walked out. The following day, Mary was in the kitchen when Steph came in, yelling at her to get her things and leave the house. But trust me, it didn't go well for him, as Mary insulted him, leaving him speechless. Later that night, Chief and Steph were having dinner. Chief called out for Mary to join them, so they could have a good conversation while eating. At first, she refused, but he insisted. As they began eating, Steph suddenly stood up and went outside. Moments later, Mary came out and saw him. Steph began pouring out his hurt about his father to her. The next day, Mary came to tell Steph that breakfast was ready. He told her not to bother because what happened last night didn't make them friends. Mary made it clear she wasn't trying to be his friend and walked away. Steph later came to the dining table and ate. Later that day, Steph's girlfriend came to look for him. Mary told her he went to work, which made the girlfriend laugh, knowing Steph would never work. She left shortly after. When Mary informed Steph, he also didn't think she would believe him, but they ended up chatting for a while. The next morning, Steph was in his room going through some files. After that, he went to the kitchen wearing a suit to see if it looked good on him, and it definitely did. They chatted about the food, and Steph asked if Mary could teach him how to cook. Then he left for work. Later that day, Chief called Mary to ask if she had anything to do with Steph's recent change. After a brief chat, she left and went straight to her father, who was worried about what Chief had discussed with her. He warned her to stay away from Steph. A day later, Steph and Mary were seen together chatting. Later that day, two men chased Steph and began beating him. When Mary tried to stop them, they also hit her in the eye. That same day, Mary's father was furious about what happened and went to warn Steph to stay away from his daughter. That night, Steph went to a bar for a drink. His girlfriend met him there, and they went off to have some fun. Back at home, when Mary went to Steph's room, she found him with his girlfriend and was disappointed in him. She returned to her room, hurt by the things Steph had said to her. The next night, Mary saw Steph and his girlfriend having fun in the pool. She stared at them for a while and walked away. The next morning, Mary excitedly showed her father that she had gotten a job. They prayed together in celebration. Steph saw them and went back inside. That night, Steph went out to play a betting game. He was anxious and wanted to back out, but it turned into a fight, and he had no choice but to go through with it. The following morning, Steph sat in the living room, deep in thought, with a drink in his hand. That night, he went back to the betting game but found his girlfriend with another man. When he confronted her, she told him she had broken up with him. Distracted and upset, he failed in the game, and the men dealt with him harshly. The next day, Steph went to meet his father to apologize for everything he had done. His father embraced him and also apologized for not being the best father to him. The next morning, as Mary was leaving for work, Steph rushed to stop her and apologize. But Mary was too upset to listen. He then offered to make her dinner to show he was sorry, and she left. Steph, having learned his lesson the hard way, went to Mary's father to apologize as well. He then returned to the kitchen to prepare the dish. Later that day, Steph and Mary sat at the dining table. Mary was still hesitant about the food. When Steph took a spoonful, he immediately spat it out. It was tasteless. He apologized for ruining the moment. They laughed, decided to order something else, went to the kitchen, and agreed to remain best friends. The moral lesson of this movie is, no matter how far a person goes in the wrong direction, they can always turn back. Pride, laziness, and reckless living only lead to regret, but humility, hard work, and respect for others open the door to second chances. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating movies like this. See you next time.